I want you to take a breath, just one conscious breath, and in that breath I want you to feel the truth of something simple but powerful. You are not lost, you are being guided. You see, what we call the wilderness, that place where the path seems overgrown, where the map disappears, where comfort is stripped away, is not a mistake. It is a recalibration point. In the wilderness you are not being punished. You are being positioned. God's blessing is not limited to the familiar. It does not only exist in your comfort zone, in predictability, or in the applause of others. God's blessing is quantum. It is non-linear. It transcends logic. It shows up where it's least expected, yet most needed. You might ask, how can I be blessed when I feel so broken? Let me offer you a radical thought. Your breakdown is sacred space. It is where outdated identities dissolve and new frequencies begin to emerge. Because here's what science and spirituality agree on. Where you place your attention is where you place your energy. When you are in the wilderness, emotionally, spiritually, financially, what most people do is rehearse their past. They relive their mistakes, regret their decisions, and ruminate in survival mode. But when you do that, you lock your energy in the field of what was. You delay the arrival of what could be. Instead, I invite you to do something revolutionary in the wilderness. Expect the blessing. Not because you can see it yet, but because you're tuning your inner world to it. Blessing doesn't come because you deserve it. Blessing comes because you are finally resonating with it. When you think a new thought, I am worthy of breakthrough even now. When you feel a new emotion, gratitude for what hasn't even shown up yet, you are collapsing time. You are accelerating miracles, and here's the mystery of the wilderness. When you stop resisting the unknown, you become known to something greater than your intellect. That's when the blessing finds you. Not when you have it all figured out, but when you become a vibrational match to grace. You see, the wilderness is not punishment, it's a portal. It strips away the distractions so you can hear a new voice, a higher voice, whispering, you are not forsaken, you are being formed. So don't fear your uncertainty, don't curse your silence. This is sacred ground. Because in the moment you surrender the illusion of control, in the moment you bless your situation before it's fixed, you become available for the blessing. Not by striving, but by aligning. The blessing will find you, not because you chased it, but because you matched it. So today, even if you're in a place where nothing seems to be working, even if you're surrounded by confusion, isolation, or loss, I want you to close your eyes, take another breath, and say, even here I am seen. Even now I am blessed. And let that become your new reality, because in the wilderness there is still a way. There is still a blessing. And it is already finding you. The wilderness is not punishment, it's preparation. Often, when we find ourselves in seasons of isolation, uncertainty, or delay, our immediate reaction is to assume something has gone wrong. We question ourselves, our path, and even our faith. But the truth is, these wilderness moments are not detours. They are design. The wilderness strips away what no longer serves us. It takes us out of the familiar and removes the noise, so we can hear what we were too distracted to notice before. It's not a place of abandonment. It's a place of alignment. In this space, we are no longer sustained by external validation or predictable outcomes. We are forced to look inward. The roles we clung to, the routines we depended on, even the identities we thought defined us, all of them begin to fall away, and that's exactly the point. The wilderness clears the space for what's real to emerge. It brings us face to face with our beliefs, our energy, and our unresolved patterns. We are confronted with ourselves not to break us, but to build us differently. Preparation in the wilderness doesn't look like progress in the traditional sense. There may be no visible results, no immediate breakthroughs, no applause, but internally something is shifting. Neural pathways are being rewired, emotional patterns are being disrupted, old stories are being challenged. It's a deep inner recalibration, a stripping down to the essentials so that we can be rebuilt on more authentic ground. What seems like delay is often divine timing. What feels like silence is often sacred instruction. This space is where resilience is grown, where character is forged, and where alignment with purpose begins. The wilderness doesn't punish you, it prepares you for what you're meant to carry. God's blessings are quantum, non-linear and unexpected. We often expect blessings to arrive through predictable channels, a job promotion, a specific relationship, a clearly mapped out success. But divine intelligence does not operate within the limits of our logic. It moves beyond time, beyond circumstances, beyond the cause, in defect thinking that governs our everyday minds. A quantum blessing isn't earned through effort alone. It appears when we shift our frequency to align with it. It shows up when we least expect it, often in forms we didn't anticipate, yet in ways that serve our highest good. In the quantum field, everything exists as potential. Possibility is not waiting in some distant future. It exists now, waiting for your consciousness to connect with it. God's blessings don't follow the rules of linear time. What would take years to accomplish in the physical can happen in moments when the inner alignment is right. The doorway to these blessings is not strategy, but energy. When you change your inner state, your thoughts, emotions, and expectations, you change the signal you're sending out into the field. And when that signal matches the frequency of the outcome you desire, that outcome is drawn to you effortlessly. Most people are looking for blessings in all the logical places, but divine favor often shows up through interruptions, closed doors, or unexpected pivots. What looks like a loss may be a hidden setup. What feels like failure could be the exact sequence required to lead you into something far greater. Because blessings are not constrained by your understanding, they are governed by resonance. God does not bless the version of you that is attached to predictability. Blessings flow to the version of you that's willing to trust, to release control, and to step into a greater field of possibility. Your attention directs your energy and your destiny. Where you consistently place your focus becomes the foundation for the reality you create. Most people move through life unconsciously rehearsing the same thoughts, emotions, and reactions they did yesterday. They don't realize that their attention is locked in the past, and by doing so, they are recreating the same outcomes over and over again. Attention is not passive. It is an act of creation. When you give energy to fear, to doubt, to limitation, those states become reinforced not only in your mind, but in your body and in your future. Your brain is a record of the past, but your attention is the instrument of change. It is the steering wheel of consciousness. Whatever you mentally rehearse, whether it's pain or possibility, becomes the signal your nervous system learns to expect and prepare for. That's why choosing where your attention goes is not just about mindset. It's about activating a new neural reality. When you shift your focus from survival-based thinking to elevated states like gratitude, vision, and trust, you literally begin to rewire your brain. New circuits form, new chemistry is released. The body begins to memorize a future instead of a familiar past. The energy you give something is what gives it life. When you focus on lack, lack expands. When you focus on healing, your system begins to organize around wholeness. This is not wishful thinking. It's biology and energy at work. The field responds to coherence. It responds to focus that is clear, intentional, and emotionally charged. Your attention is your vote. It's the yes you give to your next experience. Every moment you direct it with intention, you are shaping the trajectory of your life, not by force, but by frequency. Breakdowns are sacred opportunities for transformation. While they may feel like collapse, confusion, or failure on the surface, at a deeper level, they mark the disintegration of patterns that can no longer support your evolution. A breakdown is not the end. It is a signal that the old framework, the old belief system, the old emotional wiring is being dismantled. And though the process may be uncomfortable, even painful, it is also deeply necessary. Growth doesn't happen when things are easy. It happens when the internal pressure to change becomes greater than the desire to stay the same. In moments of breakdown, your nervous system may feel overwhelmed, your thoughts may spiral, and your sense of identity may come into question. This is part of the transformation. The self that is breaking down is the self that was built around survival, control, or unhealed wounds. When it begins to unravel, what's really happening is that space is being made for something more authentic to emerge. These moments ask you to sit still long enough to witness what is falling apart, not with fear, but with curiosity. There is wisdom in the dismantling. Biologically, breakdown often means old neural circuits are being destabilized. Energetically, it means you're being asked to shift into a higher frequency. Spiritually, it signals that a deeper part of you is ready to come online. It's in these spaces, raw, uncertain, unguarded, that your connection to divine intelligence becomes clearest. Because you're no longer hiding behind routine or performance. You're present, you're honest, and that presence becomes fertile ground for insight, healing, and revelation. The breakdown is the space between stories, the void between identities. And within that void, if you're willing to surrender, something entirely new is waiting to be born. Blessings align with inner resonance, not outer circumstances. Most people look to their environment to determine what is possible for them. They wait for conditions to change before they allow themselves to feel worthy, hopeful, or inspired. But true alignment doesn't begin outside of you. It begins in your energetic state. The universe does not respond to your words or even your effort alone. It responds to your frequency. What you radiate from within creates a gravitational field that either attracts or repels the experiences you desire. When your inner world is coherent, when your thoughts, emotions, and intentions are aligned, your outer world begins to reorganize in response. People often believe that blessings are something to chase, something to earn, something granted only after long seasons of struggle. But blessings are not rewards for suffering. They are reflections of alignment. You don't attract what you want, you attract what you are. This is why two people can be in the same environment, facing similar conditions, and have completely different experiences. One is operating from fear, the other from trust. One is in resistance, the other in flow. Their energetic signatures shape the outcomes they receive. Resonance is the language of creation. When you cultivate peace, you invite clarity. When you embody gratitude, you magnetize abundance. When you hold the vibration of joy regardless of circumstance, you open space for unexpected goodness to emerge. This isn't about pretending everything is fine. It's about choosing to live from an inner truth deeper than your current conditions. The field responds to who you are being. So when your state of being rises to meet the vision you carry, blessings are no longer distant possibilities. They become natural consequences of your coherence with a higher order. Expect the miracle before it manifests. This is not about blind optimism or ignoring reality. It is about understanding the power of expectation as a creative force. When you expect something, you're not simply hoping. It becomes a felt experience in your body, a blueprint that your subconscious begins to follow. The brain doesn't know the difference between what's vividly imagined and what's actually happening. So when you cultivate a state of expectancy, you are literally preparing your biology and your energy field to receive. Miracles are not rare events granted only to a chosen few. They are shifts in perception, breakthroughs in energy, quantum outcomes that bypass linear logic. But they do not enter a field dominated by doubt, fear, or resignation. They require an open door, an inner posture that says, yes, I am available for what I cannot yet see. That posture is built through repeated expectation, not just once, but daily, moment by moment. Every time you return to that inner knowing, despite what's happening externally, you become a match for the extraordinary. Expectation is a frequency. It communicates certainty without needing evidence. It's not about forcing an outcome. It's about tuning yourself to the version of you that already lives in that outcome. When you start showing up as that version, thinking differently, speaking differently, making decisions from that elevated place, you collapse the distance between now and then. You step into alignment with the solution, the opportunity, the healing, even before it appears in the physical. This inner expectancy is what keeps you aligned when the wait feels long. It anchors you when doubts creep in. It invites divine timing to meet you with precision. Because when you expect the miracle before it manifests, you demonstrate that your faith is stronger than your fear. Gratitude accelerates the arrival of grace. It is not just a polite emotion or a reaction to something good happening. It is a powerful frequency that alters your entire energetic signature. When you express gratitude in the absence of visible results, you signal to the universe that you trust the unseen process. This trust is magnetic. It draws experiences, people, and resources toward you that match the vibration you are holding. Gratitude is a way of saying, I already know it's on the way, even when there's no physical evidence yet. From a biological standpoint, gratitude releases chemicals like dopamine and serotonin, which elevate your mood and create a state of coherence between your heart and brain. This coherence amplifies your signal into the quantum field, allowing your intentions to be more clearly received. It is not about asking for something to happen. It's about embodying the feeling of it already happening. When you feel thankful before the manifestation, you collapse the timeline between desire and reality. Gratitude also shifts your attention. Instead of focusing on what's missing, it tunes you into what's already working, already present, already possible. That shift in focus expands your awareness and helps you see solutions and pathways you might have missed while dwelling in lack. You begin to feel supported, connected, and empowered, even in the middle of uncertainty. This emotional elevation puts you into harmony with the outcomes you are seeking. Grace is not something that visits those who wait passively. It is drawn to those who live in alignment with its frequency. Gratitude becomes the invitation. It turns your inner world into fertile ground, making it easier for blessings to take root and flourish. The more you practice it, the faster transformation begins to unfold around you. Surrender opens the doorway to divine guidance. In a world that teaches control as the path to success, surrender can feel counterintuitive. But spiritual clarity and inner peace often arrive not when we push harder, but when we release our grip. Surrender is not about giving up. It is about giving over. It's the act of releasing the need to figure everything out, to control every outcome, and to carry what was never meant to be yours alone. When you surrender, you create space for something higher to take the lead, something wiser than fear and more intelligent than force. Surrender is a shift from willpower to willingness. It says, I don't have to know how, but I'm open to what is meant for me. That openness creates a portal through which insight, clarity, and divine timing can flow. It moves you from resistance to receptivity, and in that receptivity, you become sensitive to guidance that doesn't always come through logic, but through intuition, signs, synchronicities, and inner knowing. When you're locked in control, your energy tightens, your perspective narrows, and your nervous system stays in survival mode. Surrender softens that grip. It allows you to drop into the present moment where divine instruction can be heard more clearly. You stop trying to force solutions and start allowing answers to find you. In this space, even delays begin to feel purposeful, even uncertainty begins to feel like sacred ground. Surrender is not passive, it's deeply active in the spiritual sense. It requires courage to let go of the familiar and step into the unknown with trust. It requires you to stop striving and start listening, not just with your mind, but with your heart. Through surrender, you align yourself with the rhythm of grace rather than the pressure of control. Your vibration attracts what logic cannot predict. We live in a world that prizes reason, cause and effect, and measurable outcomes. Yet the deeper workings of life unfold in realms beyond what the mind can grasp. The truth is, your energetic frequency is a powerful magnet that draws experiences, people, and opportunities into your life, often in ways that defy explanation. What the intellect cannot calculate, your vibration signals and calls forth effortlessly. Every thought, feeling, and belief emits a frequency. When you consistently hold fear, doubt, or limitation, you create an energetic environment that attracts similar patterns, circumstances that reflect those inner states. Conversely, when you cultivate feelings of joy, love, gratitude, and possibility, you create a magnetic field that invites unexpected blessings, connections, and solutions. This is why two people with similar external situations can have wildly different experiences, because their vibrational realities are not the same. Logic tries to predict outcomes based on past data and patterns, but vibration operates in the present moment and influences potential futures. It's not about controlling what happens, but about mastering the inner state from which life unfolds. When you raise your vibration, you become a beacon for synchronicities and divine timing, opening doors that reason alone cannot explain. It's as if you tap into a universal intelligence that rearranges circumstances in your favor. This principle invites you to focus less on external conditions and more on your internal frequency. Instead of trying to solve problems with the mind alone, you shift your energy first. Through meditation, affirmation, visualization, or emotional healing, and then watch how life responds. Your vibration sets the stage for miracles precisely because it transcends the limitations of logic, operating on the deeper laws of attraction, resonance, and energetic alignment. Even in the unknown, you are being formed, not forgotten. When life takes you into places of uncertainty, confusion, or silence, it can feel like you've been abandoned or left behind. The mind craves answers and clarity, and without them, it tends to fill the void with fear or doubt. But in reality, these moments of not knowing are some of the most fertile periods for growth and transformation. Even when the future is unclear and the path invisible, something profound is happening beneath the surface. You are being shaped in ways that are often imperceptible but essential. The unknown strips away old identities and forces you to confront who you are at your core. Without familiar markers, without the usual distractions, you come face to face with your essence. This process can feel uncomfortable or disorienting, but it is a kind of spiritual forging. Just as metal is strengthened by fire, your character and consciousness are being refined in this invisible space. You may not see the progress, but every challenge, every moment of vulnerability, is a step in your formation. The idea that you are forgotten during hardship is a misconception born from limited perspective. In truth, the universe is always working through you, even when you don't sense it. There is a divine intelligence that holds the bigger picture, one that includes your growth, your purpose, and your eventual breakthrough. Your journey through the unknown is part of a larger unfolding that only reveals itself in time. This means that every experience, no matter how difficult, is contributing to your becoming. Being formed in the unknown requires trust, trust in the process, trust in your resilience, and trust in something greater than yourself. It invites you to surrender control and embrace the mystery, knowing that you are never truly alone, and that this wilderness is a sacred classroom where your true self is being born.